Good point. Happy almost anniversary. Thank you. That's gonna be a night to remember, I'm sure. I bet we're gonna have a nice little shindig at the Cypress. But what's shaking? You've been busy, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been crazy for sure with the move, and learning the ropes to help my dad out with some things, and other stuff. There's a lot going on. Tell me about it. I wasn't expecting things to be this jam-packed. The group relaxed and hung out in the living room. Each person shared updates from the past and plans for the future. It went on until the sun began to set. At that point, you and Derek decided that it was best to leave sooner rather than later. The end of the visit was accepted with grace. Bye. Thanks again for coming to see us.
Take care.
Tell Mr. Suarez Happy Father's Day for us.
I got
We'll
you.
be sure to do that. Mr. Holden remained in his seat. He had already planned on visiting with your moms a little while longer.
See you.
Take care. I'll see the two of you tomorrow. Bye. Great seeing you. With that, you stepped out into the warm embrace of the evening air. Leaving that house, going onto that street, it was something you'd done countless times. Believing how much the context of that action had changed was hard. You were only here on a visit, while the person you were staying with was Derek. A true reversal from the old days. Yeah, that's for sure. Derek followed you out, but didn't go to his car. Instead, he stepped into the center of the road and stayed there. His gaze wandered up the hill and past that, off into the distance. He spoke with a voice as comforting as the familiar song of the crickets. Hey, before we go, could we stretch our legs a bit? There's one other thing I want to do while we're here. Yes, Derek. Yes, I will marry you. You don't have to ask me twice. Lead the way.
Thank you.
Cool, thanks. Derek tilted his head in the direction he wanted to go. His mouth hooked into a grin, and then he started strolling. You followed at his side. Derek moved with wide, carefree strides. His arms pumped back and forth with each step. You found yourself headed outside of the residential area of Sunset Bird and onto the main street. It had been nice to familiarize yourself with the area during the little jaunt. Derek got a conversation going between you. It's still hard to believe we're hanging out together right now. Seriously, when did that happen?
It's been a long time.
But also, when did it stop happening? It's something I've been thinking about. His voice grew quieter as he was unable to meet your gaze. He shrugged and let the conversation hang on that note. The walk continued, and you had a good idea of where he was going at that point. There was something coming up in the middle of the path, and it wouldn't hold any interest to anyone other than you, Derek, and Cove. It's probably the sidewalk that I still have issues with. The sidewalk thing. For the three of you, it was special. Derek crouched onto the ground right where you expected. He smiled wistfully at a decade-old inscription. See, that's the thing. This is where I find it hard. He finds it, really, special and sentimental, and for me, it's triggering. For me, the OCD-ness of me is I still can't believe you did that. Why did you do that? In the grand scheme of things, I understand it's not the worst thing in the world, but still, it's just yeah. Perfectly perfectly smoothed sidewalk, completely tainted. The writing was well worn, but still visible. He slowly placed his finger over the small print he left in the concrete as a 13-year-old. He was so much larger than he used to be. His finger completely eclipsed the tiny mark, and yet he seemed small again to you in that moment. There was something on his mind that swept him miles away all of a sudden. You had no idea what it could be, and that uncertainty left a sour taste on your tongue. Yeah, the whole thing leaves a sour taste. Derek remained transfixed with the concrete and his own internal musings. Gradually, his frown worsened.
This sucks.
Time is a sucky thing to play against. If you mess up, that's it. Even if you try to turn things around later, you're not getting what you lost back. It's just gone. Making mistakes isn't a waste. Do you think you've messed up something? That scares me. You should be proud of what you've been able to do. You watch him quietly. Do you think you've messed something up? He chuckled, but it was the farthest thing from being reassuring. You nervously chewed at the inside of your cheek.
I've really messed up.
I've messed up a lot of things. That was all that came of it. Derek pushed off the ground and got back on his feet. He brushed some dirt off and took his phone out. He got a picture of himself giving a thumbs up in front of the concrete slab. The solemn air around him vanished.
Okay.
I'm gonna text this to Cove. Wait, I want to be in the picture too. That's very cute. Cove will appreciate our pilgrimage to the stone idol. You laughed. That's very cute. A bashful blush rose in his cheeks. Derek studied the picture again. Well, I bet Cove will get a kick out of us stopping by here. Me too. You caught Derek's gaze wandering off again. He hummed thoughtfully, and you followed his eyeline to the local store across the street.
Oh,
I just
man.
remembered I'm still low on groceries. We could journey over there. We could, but I'm worried things could go bad on the drive back to the apartment. Plus, it's been a super long day already. How about we pick something up for dinner and save the shopping for tomorrow? My treat. Oh, dinner date? How could I say no to that? I vote for takeout. No, I vote for eating at a nice restaurant. Get the romance in. Awesome. Think about what you're in the mood for and let's get going. Oh, I'm in the mood, Derek. I know exactly what I'm in the mood for. Yes. Ready to nibble. Ready. I am ready for a snack. Ready for a snack, Derek. Together, you eagerly went back the way you came. This time, you got in the car and drove out of Sunset Bird once more. Derek ordered from your preferred drive-through, and temporarily parked in the shade to pass out the goods. He handed you your drink and folded paper bag with your food. You dug in immediately. Oh, we're doing fast food. That's not very romantic. The foodie in me is breaking. Don't get me wrong, I do appreciate fast food. I do like fast food. But it just wasn't what I envisioned as my first dinner, my first meal with Derek after seeing him again. Just not it would not have been my first choice. Fine. Derek's ride was nice and still had a new car smell, but had no problem with people eating it. That's the double-edged sword about a game like this that gives you so much choice and so much customization and so much freedom that when they don't give you freedom or choice in something simple, it's jarring. But I can't fault the game for that. Derek's ride was nice and still had a new car smell, but he had no problem with people eating in it. See, I would prefer people do not eat in my car. As someone who is as much as a clean freak as a Derek is, I'm actually kind of surprised that he allows people to eat in his car, personally. He shared his philosophy of the inevitability that lived-in stuff is going to get dirty. He wasn't going to get mad about normal wear and tear. Yeah, but your apartment is so pristine, though. Like, I don't know, that doesn't really seem to fit, but whatever. With a big family of busy boys, an inability to keep things pristine certainly must have been an unavoidable fact of life for Derek. I mean, that's fair. You and him enjoyed the meal. It was long finished when he pulled into his apartment, designated parking spot. With sunset dimmed down to inky blackness, it was hard to see. Derek switched on an interior car light as you gathered up the trash in the bags that dinner had come in. He led the way to his place, key in hand, and unlocked his door. Derek held it open for you instead of going through. You could have told someone you'd do that before it ever had happened. That was second nature to Derek. You took a few steps in and flicked on the front light switch. Derek came in second and closed the door behind him. Phew. He walked further into his living room and flopped down on his couch. That was a successful day. A long, successful day. I feel like you've already been here a week and you got here this morning. I've already been all around. I'm glad to be back. I've practically forgotten I don't live here. It was such a nice time. You nodded. I'm glad to be back. Today he had cemented why you had come on this trip. You needed this. What a coincidence. I'm glad you're back too. Derek leaned his head back as he thought. Tomorrow's going to be busy too. He raised his hands and counted each of the planned activities with a finger. Groceries, taking the bros out, and then the Father's Day thing. It'll be great. I'll be like, what do you want to do after the Father's Day thing? What do you want to do later that night, Derek? Maybe I should plan something for a change. It'll be great. I'm already tired again just hearing it. I also want to get something gift-wise for Father's Day. I also want to go get something card-wise for Father's Day. You gave him a thumbs up. I'll get something gift-wise for Father's Day. So add that to the list. I want to get your dad something for the holiday. I want to get something for Mr. Holden for the holiday. I want to get something for your dad and Mr. Holden for the holiday. You're so nice. We can find something when we're out shopping, I bet. Thanks. That'll work out. Derek blinked sleepily, sinking further into the couch. He looked cozy. He shook himself and suddenly clapped his hands together. But hey, you probably want to shower and settle in for real before it gets even later. Do you need to shower too, Derek? I mean, we can save water. We can be more efficient and shower at the same time in the same place. Just, it's for efficiency's sake, it's for the environment. For the environment, Derek. That's all it is. He grabbed the back of the couch and hauled himself to his feet.
No worries.
We can always work on the schedule when we're not sweaty and exhausted. I mean, we can do something else while we're sweaty. But that's the best time to plan things. Derek exhaled sharply at your joke and he smiled. Yeah, I'll go gladly take your hot water. Bye, Derek. Derek waved you off as you returned to the guest's room. You got out your stuff, put your toiletries in the bathroom, and showered. You tried to be quick, and were soon in your pajamas, winding down for the night. Once again, you were back into your room. You plugged in your phone charger and unpacked tomorrow's clothes. Yeah, definitely the phone charger. A knock rattled your door. Can I come in? Yes? Thanks. Derek accepted your invitation and shut the door behind him after he walked in. Ooh. Sup, guy? Sup yourself? You went over to Derek. You sat down on the bed for the conversation. He sat on the bed and patted the spot next to you. You shut your suitcase and climbed to the edge of the bed. You scooted to the corner, leaving room for a Derek-sized person to sit down. Derek stood in this corner of the room, not getting the hint until you gestured at the empty space beside you. Oh. He strode forward and hopped onto the mattress. The bed bounced beneath you. It's not going to be the last time. He grinned boyishly at you. Everything good in here? Yep, definitely. I've triple-checked that I brought everything. It looks like I forgot my wallet, you joked. I forgot to pack shampoo and conditioner. It is, thanks for asking. You smiled back at him in response. Definitely, I've triple-checked that I brought everything. Whoa, triple-checked. That's how you do it. Once I double-checked when I was packing, and I found out when I got there that I forgot my phone charger. Derek stretched his arms above his head and yawned. Despite his sleepiness, he remained upbeat. Rather than seeming done with the conversation, he appeared to be mulling something over. Probably what to say next. He wasn't being responsible and going to bed early. You didn't mind. This was your first day back together and there was no need to rush its end. A spark came to his eyes, inspiration striking him. He instinctively leaned closer to you, bringing your faces almost nose to nose. Hark, while you're here, we should go to a water park. There's one a ways away, but it'd be so worth it. Even though I'm not very big into water stuff, anything for Derek, I will do it. Especially if it means Derek is going to end up in swimming trunks. Heck yes, I would do it. This is the sacrifices I make for the people that you love. He eagerly continued to lay out his thought process.
Oh, man.
We haven't done something like that since that boardwalk. Man, that was ages ago and our families were there. If we tried, we could keep it just you and me. Obviously, there's not a chance tomorrow, so how about the day after that? We could get there first thing, spend the afternoon together, and get going before it gets late. He paused and took a helpful breath. All of his attention focused on your action. Thank the maker, we get a day just us. Just us. Just Derek, which is probably the main reason we got this DLC in the first place. Spend time with Derek. So, what do you think? I'd love to go. That's perfect. I'd be willing to give it a try. Well, alright, you give a thumbs up. I'll say, that's perfect. A water park was such a good summer kind of thing to do. You looked forward to Derek finally taking you. Alright. Derek's smile widened. You could tell he was already mentally planning how the adventure would go. It sort of felt like being asked out on a date, in a roundabout, indirect manner that could go either way depending on however you wanted to take it. Textbook Derek. With absolutely no further prompting, he winked. Since I'm finally saying this, I might as well admit the rest. I've thought about inviting you to a water park before, and not only the water park. There were a lot of places I wanted to take you when we lived closer to each other. There was always a reason not to. I was busy, you were probably busy, or maybe you wouldn't like my idea and all that. Yeah, these are some of the I think these are like the mistakes, or the things that he thought he messed up.
That's what I thought.
Regretting. At least that's what I thought. He dropped his gaze and shrugged. You waited for him to rally, to turn it around. You could picture him saying something positive, maybe better late than never, or being glad that he finally did it. But as the silence continued, no silver lining came. He had failed in his past endeavors, and that was it. No one spoke, and the awkwardness began to press on you. But Derek brightened his voice, unwilling to let it linger any longer. Well, it's late. I shouldn't keep you up. I'll see you tomorrow, bright and early. Of all the people who are dying for a Derek romance, we're being teased so much. Such a tease game. We should plan to leave the apartment by around 8 for shopping. Everything's close enough that we can walk, if that's alright. Okay.
Good night.
Great. Good night, Hark. Night. Good night, Derek. Don't let the bedbugs bite. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You hummed off affirmatively. I'll say... don't let the big bugs bite. No, I'm gonna say I'm looking forward to it. Derek nodded and left the room without another word, leaving you alone. After all of that, you had earned your exhaustion. You were at your limit. It's too sleepy to do anything else. You flicked the light switch and went straight to bed. You woke up the next morning in an unfamiliar but awfully comfortable bed. The sheets smelled of an unknown laundry detergent. You slowly absorbed your surroundings. This is Derek's place, wasn't it? And you were on the schedule. You groaned and rolled over to check the clock on the side table. It was hours before you had to leave. You had woken up with plenty of time. You had slept in. You needed to hurry. You had woken up with plenty of time. You slipped out of bed and casually got yourself ready. Soon you wandered into the living room, your mind drifting back to what Derek said last night. It was a heavy admission from him, his lack of confidence to reach out to you. You didn't want to dwell on it. It was a big day for the entire Suarez family, and you didn't want to rain on their parade just because you were aware that it used to flood in the past. Derek would bring it up if you wanted to talk more about it, but until then you would let it lie. No. I would have brought it up. No. Totally not what I would have done. The man on your mind was nowhere to be seen when you left the hall, but you did notice a note sticking on the kitchen counter. You checked the message. Derek wanted to let you know that he'd gone down to the gym in the apartment complex. Of course he did. Hot and sweaty. You read the rest of it aloud to yourself. So that's where I'll be if you don't see me. I'll be back around 7:30 a.m. Thanks, Derek. He smiled at his consideration. He could have texted you, but had probably worried about disturbing you. Maybe physical notes was an old habit of his. You checked your phone and it was 7 o'clock. I would not have been woken up at 7. Not when I'm on vacation, 7 a.m. You cray. No. I don't even wake up that early on a work day, on a work week. You had 30 minutes to fill. You read a book you brought. You read on your phone. You played a game on your phone. You watched something on your phone. You turned on Derek's TV. I'll play a game on my phone. You luckily knew exactly how to entertain yourself. Hearthstone, or as my coworkers would call it, Hearthstone instead of Hearthstone. That's like my go-to when I need to kill some time. You took a seat on the couch and unlocked your phone. You tapped an app and started up a game. Exactly at 7:30 a.m. Exactly. Wow. Derek returned. A gym bag was slung over his shoulder. He appeared to have had a strenuous workout by the sheen of sweat on his skin.
Morning.
Morning, Hark. What you up to? Morning, sunshine. I've been playing a game. Cool. I was at the gym. As I correctly deduced from your note.
Awesome.
Perfect. That's what it was for. He started to laugh and he joined in. It was nice to have him back. Derek took a quick shower, and you two left the apartment to run your errands before the day and could start in earnest. Derek picked the most direct path to the grocery store. Around you, the city bustled as people tried to get to work. Cars lined the streets and people hurried into various buildings. It took approximately 10 minutes to reach the automatic doors of the store and step into the air conditioning. Various displays tried to sell you on all the Father's Day deals. There wasn't much about it that set this one apart from the one in your old town. We're probably going to need a cart. He pulled one out with a smooth movement. He had a slightly squeaky wheel.
Let's get to it.
There, we're ready to go. He leaned over the handle like he was at the start of a kart race, waiting for the shot to go off. So, what protein do you want? It was a good question. At the point of your life, you were not picky and ate almost everything. Yeah, no, not picky and ate almost anything. That was something Derek was already aware of, but he couldn't make an entire meal plan for you. We can start cooking at home for some of your meals, though a lot of what we'll eat today will probably still be from my parents' house or restaurants. I'll say we only need 2 or 3 packs of things.
What do you think?
I'm thinking chicken, sausage, and eggs, but you can get something else. I want to make sure there's stuff you want to eat. You inspected your surroundings and thought about what you wanted. Beef, pork, bacon, lamb, turkey, salmon, cod, shrimp, tofu, lentils, beans. You wanted what Derek suggested. I'm a seafood dude, so shrimp, cod, salmon, lentils are good, beans, lentils, tofu, lamb, beef, pork, bacon, turkey, beans, and that was all. I'm eating a lot of seafood. Derek smirked and shook his head. Are you sure you're gonna finish all of it before you leave? I'm not gonna be able to help that much. I'm not Cove. I have a pretty darn good appetite too. I'm sure Cove is a bottomless pit, but I can hold my own as well, especially back then. Back in my 20s, heck yeah. Though once I hit 30, that's when my metabolism blew up. You both chuckled at the joke. It was very true. I'm pretty sure in real life I could have eaten just as much as Cove back then. Not so much anymore. I'll just get what I can manage. Don't worry. Alright, let's go grab some good vegetables to go with that and some rice or whatever. Let's remember to check the discount rack. We could get a jug of lemonade. How about oatmeal too? We can grab some granola. We need pineapple. Mangoes would be good. Sure, that's a plan. Ah, he loves mangoes and I love mangoes. Mangoes would be good. Derek brightened and bounced on the balls of his feet. You're a genius. Better than that, you're an expert on me specifically.
So?
I remember. Oh, and what were you thinking of getting for a gift? I gotta grab a card for Mr. Holden while we're at it. Can I also get a gift for Derek? I also want to get a gift for Derek because he's my daddy. You considered your options. It'd need to be easy to transport. Something that could go bad probably wouldn't be the best choice. You thought about what Derek's dad would appreciate. You went for a bottle of cologne, a mug, a box of chocolate, a pack of cards, a pack of socks, a cheese and meat sampling box. Ooh, that sounds tasty. I'm a foodie, so this is what I would get him. A tie. Cheese and meat sampling box. For Mr. Holden, you would imagine he'd enjoyed. You'd select... I'll get him some food too. A box of chocolate. Cool. You began your own very purposeful browsing. Derek speed walked with the cart. He kept things moving but wasn't rushing you either. It was nearly as leisurely as when you'd first shopped with him. Neither of you were in a rush and appreciated the company. However, as adults, the atmosphere between you was markedly different. Before, you had investigated the store as if every shelf could hold buried treasure. Now the items took little attention and you spent more energy absorbing each other's presence. Grocery shopping was more of a chore and less of an experience. No, I wouldn't say that. Even as an adult now, like, I legitimately, genuinely have fun going grocery shopping. And maybe it's because I'm a foodie and I like to cook. But yeah, like, I do look forward to, and I don't call going to the grocery store really a chore. Not really. However, even chores weren't bad with Derek. You both debated brands, helped spot elusive items, and encouraged each other to get what you wanted. If one of you hesitated over something, the other would compel the other to treat themselves. Mutual decisions were praised for the good taste, and strange selections were jokingly critiqued. It was the best visit to the grocery store you've had in ages. After getting the goods, you went through the self-checkout to pay for it all. Derek scanned, and you bagged until everything was put away and paid for. The first part of the shopping trip was over. Now you had to carry it all back, on foot. Derek loaded himself up with the supplies eagerly. Do you normally carry your groceries like this? I didn't think about how we'd have to walk back with all of this stuff. It was nice seeing him in a good mood. Do you normally carry your groceries like this? Yeah, I'd rather do it this way than drive. Indeed, you saw no struggling from Derek. It occurred to you that this was his second workout today, and it wasn't even 9 o'clock yet. He continued to grab the bags without asking you to help. It soon became obvious that he intended to carry all of them. You hurried and snatched up a few bags before he could. You waited for Derek to finish. I want to work out. Derek, I didn't exercise. I didn't hit the gym at all. Let me have some. You hurried and snatched a few bags before he could. You wouldn't let him get away with such a scheme. Oh, well, thank you. You retraced the steps back to the apartment, crossing through the crowded streets with bundles of groceries. The pace was brisk. The two of you had places to be and people to see. As soon as you returned, Derek dumped the bags onto the counter. He turned his head over his shoulder to face you. We can just put the cold stuff in the fridge and leave the rest. We've got to go soon. You placed what you carried on the end of the counter. You snatched the eggs and opened the nearly empty refrigerator. Where in the fridge?
Whatever works.
Wherever you'll remember it being. With sage and organizational advice, you nodded along with Derek's enthusiasm. Let's do it. With confident determination, the two of you tore through the bags in search of goods that needed to stay chilled. With a team effort, it only took a couple minutes to put the groceries away safely. Nice work, Hark. He offered you a triumphant high five. You gave his hand a loud smack. Now nothing's stopping us. We can actually eat some of these groceries we got. Immediately, if not sooner. Given the ticking clock, you had a fast and simple breakfast. While it wasn't fancy, it satisfied your appetite and would fuel you throughout the day. When you were done, Derek placed the dirty dishes in the sink. He gave them a light rinse and wiped his hands.
Right.
We gotta go. The bros are waiting. In short order, you exited the apartment. As you would be staying out longer, Derek was more cautious leaving his place. Derek double-checked that he locked the door and went to his car. You jumped in the passenger seat and buckled your seatbelt. Derek started ignition and checked behind him before he easily pulled out of the spot. George texted me and said he was already at Mom and Dad's place. He's gonna leave his car there, and then you, me, him, and Nico will all go in mine. It'd be too much of an extra hassle to make George drive behind us. He grinned cheekily with a knowing glance. But I did already tell him that you had dibs on shotgun. Thank you. You're a champ. You didn't have to do that. Does George normally get shotgun? I hope your brothers aren't mad about that. Nah, Nicholas won't even notice. He always gets the back seat. George also isn't going to care. He could give up the front for a little while when you're in town. Well, if you're sure, thanks. Derek was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. His focus stayed on the road. He boldly navigated through the packed streets, his entire demeanor screaming his familiarity with his drive. The sounds of traffic droned on, making it easy to zone out. You hadn't even noticed that the conversation had completely dropped off until Derek spoke up with a question. So what game that game you were playing earlier, you never told me how it was. Any good? It was great. It's pretty good. There's worse out there. It ended up being kind of awful, if I'm being honest. It was great. I'd like to hear it. I'd like to hear that. Maybe I'll check it out. So how was your gym adventure? It was excellent. I worked up a sweat this morning. Thanks for asking. That's good. What do you think we'll do today? What's your workout schedule? You quietly looked out the window. What's your workout schedule?
Well,
I do 2 days on and 1 day off. At least when I'm talking about full gym workouts. I walk and jog regularly too. I get antsy if I go too long without doing anything. You listened with his interest as he went into more detail about his current sets and goals. Derek turned into the same parking lot from the day before. You arrived at the other Suarez household. You both got out of the car and walked up to their door in the complex. It swung open before Derek could knock. Derek took a step back, not expecting it. George grinned from the doorway and welcomed you inside. Hey, bro.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. George fist bumped his brother, each of them excited. Hey, George, what's up? You know, life. He led you further into the condo. Nicholas was lounging on the couch. He twisted around to face you.
You're here!
You're here! Nicholas cheered and threw his hands up in the air. He hopped off the cushion, bouncing to his feet. He ran to the entryway, immediately going to Derek. Of course, we wouldn't miss it. You noticed Mr. and Mrs. Suarez cleaning up the kitchen. They must have just finished breakfast themselves. Oh, looks like we have company. Welcome. It's nice to see you two. Derek nodded and his mom turned around to put a jar of strawberry jam into the refrigerator.
hello.
Hello, Derek. Good morning, Hark. How was the drive? Hi, Dad. The drive was the same as usual, but forget about that. Derek lit up with anticipation and beamed.
Congrats.
Happy Father's Day. Yeah, Happy Father's Day. Mrs. Suarez patted her husband on the back, and he puffed up, full proud dad mode. Thank you. Oh, and my mom said Happy Father's Day too. He directed his attention towards you. Thank you again. It's a wonderful day already. Derek observed contentedly before glancing over his brothers. George had pulled out his phone at some point, and Nicholas absent-mindedly fiddled with his hair clips. You two ready to go?
Yeah!
I was born ready. With that zealous claim, Nicholas was suddenly all fired up. George crossed his arms, decidedly not as energetic. I'm not that level of ready, but I can manage leaving now. Do you need anything, Hark? Nope. All right, then, let's go.
Are you sure?
No one needs to go potty? Mrs. Suarez poked her head into the conversation, her expression too innocent. All three of her sons slumped their shoulders and sighed. Yes, Mom.
Yes, Mom.
Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. Perfect. She clapped her hands together and the boys relaxed, all showing different degrees of amusement.
Have a good one.
Have fun. We'll see you this evening.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Talk to you later.
See you tonight. We'll be there. Now let's roll out. Derek led the way after waving to his parents. He held the door for you and his brothers. Outside, he unlocked the car and it beeped. George and Nicholas beelined for the vehicle. George initially went for the passenger seat before catching himself and opening the back door. Nicholas barreled into the back seat without hesitation. You and Derek got into the car, completing the seating arrangement that Derek had discussed prior. As Derek turned the key to the ignition, it struck you that the last time you had been on outing with only the four of you was when you'd been the boys' babysitter. Now, George was an actual adult and Nicholas wasn't that far behind him. It was surreal, thinking about how much had changed over the years. Everyone had grown up. You wondered how Nicholas and George felt about hanging out with the big kids as equals.